Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton. Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
Love this software, Jacob. All right, welcome to Talking Grit. I'm Jason Harwood, and with me is Jacob Litton. Has anything changed since I saw you this morning, Jacob, or are you still doing okay?
I'm still okay. Nothing has changed at all.
All right.
In the 6-7 hours, whatever it's been.
All right, good. I'm glad that we're caught up now. I do have a question for you, though, before we get into the podcast. I know you saw what Riley Green did with the Tigers on their losing streak. He, shaved his beard, left a mustache. My question for you is, if the Lions lose 2 games in a row, which they haven't not done in multiple years, would you be willing to shave your beard to reverse the jinx of them losing?
For the Lions?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Oh, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to shave my beard. Don't put that out in the world.
Now, if they lose 3 games in a row, I mean, you got to do something. You're a guy that believes in jinxes. And now that I put this out in the world, you're going to have to do it.
Well, clearly you can't shave yours into a mustache, can you?
No, I can't. That's why I'm putting it all on you, man. You got a beautiful beard. I'm gonna. If you don't do it, I'm gonna talk to Morgan.
That is a baseball. That is a baseball and a hockey thing. It does not affect football. Okay. Just so you know.
All right. I was just wondering if you.
But if I'm on that team and I had some sort of superstitious whatever, without a doubt that I'd be shaving.
Yeah. I just wanted. Riley Green looks so different with that beard.
Yeah, right.
I prefer him with the beard, and I was wondering. I was like, I wonder what. I'd never seen you without a beard, so I got me thinking, what would Jacob look without a beard? All right.
For a very brief period of time, I just had the mustache.
Did you just have them? Oh man.
Well, I shaved for one time. I forget even what. Oh, this was back when I was working at Wendy's. This was a long time ago.
Okay.
And they didn't allow facial hair. Well, I had let the mustache whatever grow out, and then I shaved the sides and just had a mustache, and then I let it all grow back out again.
Yeah.
I'll try to find a picture.
Yeah, that's. I do want to see it, just like you want to see
a picture. 20-year-old me with the mustache.
Yeah, I want to see it because you saw me with hair, and that was 20-year-old me. Maybe.
Yeah.
It might have been 19-year-old me at that point. Anyways, let's move on to something that people actually care about. Alex Anzalone's been showing up for practice. Contract situation is still in flux. What are your thoughts about it? We haven't, all that stuff came out of him going to the media after we talked last week. So I'm curious what your overall thoughts on the contract situation is. And I'm sure you're glad that Anzalone's back, out there playing.
Yes. No, really good to see him back out in practice because I wasn't sure based on the comments that he made to the media. It was not, there was no hiding. There was no look for the hidden meaning or anything like that. He was pretty cut and dry, pretty clear. He wanted the contract. It seems like Dan and Brad. He said, you'll have to ask Dan and Brad about that. I did not like anything about that. He also said it wasn't his agent. It wasn't him. It was, completely on the team. Don't like any of that. And then, this is also when he was not practicing because of the hamstring. So then, you have to think okay, maybe he is, if this was the regular season, maybe he's probably good enough to play or to practice, and he's just not doing it because of this contract thing. So, yes, it's good that he is practicing now, but that definitely rubbed me the wrong way, everything that he talked about with the media. And, before I get into the numbers and everything, I don't know if you noticed that too. It was great to see him out there. The body language from him also kind of still seemed off to me. Even him walking around in between drills and everything. Did you pick up on that at all?
And it's kind of hard to tell. If it was in a game, I could tell because, he's so high strung and just so into it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it didn't seem like he was a full go. I don't expect that to translate into the regular season. I think Alex is going to be fine playing. I don't think you or I or any Lions fan has to worry about that. At the very least, Alex wants another big contract, or I mean, not like top of the market contract, but another pretty decent sized contract. If he doesn't get it from the Lions, he's going to want to get it from someone. And if he doesn't play well this year, then his number is going to be reduced. So if that's what's important to him, taking care of his family, then I'm not worried about it. Would I like it to be resolved and him to be happy and everything? Yeah, but I also don't know if it's realistic with everything the Lions have on the line coming up. You want to go through the numbers though?
I have like some rough numbers here. I mean, I know the Pro Football Focus thing is not always reliable, but just for the sake of last year, he was rated 67.8, which is 70th among all linebackers. So this is not just inside. But stat-wise, he ranked 57th in tackles, which he missed some games, but he was 52nd in total snaps. 2023, he was 14th in tackles for the league. 2022, he was 34th. So, he's been hovering around that. Right now, there are 23 inside linebackers paid more than him right now. Mm-hmm. His average Pro Football Focus rating has been 57.25. He's never exactly been somebody that's been at the very top tier when it comes to Pro Football Focus. Stats wise, also not exactly like at the top. What he brings to the team, the energy, the leadership, what he brings to the defense can't really be measured with these stats exactly like that. And I think that might be the angle that he's looking for. But right now, the average annual value of his contract is $6.1 million. And I mean, the top linebackers are making between 15 to 21. So I don't understand how much of a pay increase he might be thinking, because he's 24th in salary right now, but there's only 3 people that make more money than him that are as old or older than him. Bobby Wagner's 34, Levante David is 35, Demario Davis is 35. All of them, or Bobby and Levante, make $9 million. Demario is 8.6 in terms of average annual value. So, and I know his contract's going to be up at the end of this year, so I don't know if he's just wanting that security and he's wanting to sign for 2-3 more years at $6 or $7 million a year, or if he really is. I mean, because once again, with what he said to the media, it almost sounded like he thought he deserved more money, like he needed to be making more in terms of average value. And I just don't, how much is he talking? How much is his agent talking? Because, I mean, you're not that far off from, I know he's 24th, but he's not that far off from like top 10 money, because top 10 guys are making, 10, 11 million. How much could he possibly be asking for? And especially for somebody that was signing 1-year deals for 2-3 million just a few years ago.
I think the key thing that Alex said is that he wants to retire as a Lion. So that leads me to believe that it's more length of the contract than it necessarily the total amount, like he needs to be paid in the top 5 position for his position or something like that. That's the way I personally feel. Being that said, he's already 31. So now you're paying for 32 and 33. You have all these other contracts coming up. It's not that he's not worth that money or that he would provide that value. It's whether it's the opportunity cost. What else? Who are we not signing? Who are we not able to give extra money to? And at some point, you got to think about that stuff. We got a question in our chat from Dan. So shout outs to Dan. I'm sure that's Dan Pask. It just says Dan on there, but I'm sure it's Dan Pask. If not, I'm sorry, Dan. But it is from a Dan. Regardless, it says, can Alex get a contract with different amounts for each year, as in it goes down? Cheers. The answer is yes, he could do that. I mean, you could structure a contract. That's not typically how the NFL works. They raise it up based on, salary cap, or then cut you at the end. The problem is that whatever we raise this year, like, we can't roll over to next year, and we're already under the cap next year. There's things that we're going to do to fix that, but it seems to be the way the Lions are spending their money this year, that's pretty obvious that they want to roll over whatever they don't use this year into next year and use that cap money. So if we essentially spend some of that money this year, we're also spending next year's cap, because we can't roll that money over. So yes, Dan, they can do that. I just think that it's a matter of them not wanting to go too many years out. If it was a matter of $2 or $3 million just to make Alex happy, I'm sure they would probably do that. I think it's a matter of years.
I just don't know what he could be. I mean, do you think he's wanting another 3 or 4 year deal at the same rate, or I mean, his cap hit this year is 7.2. Is he asking for more money and more years? I just don't. I mean,
He's
with
probably
all the
asking for a
mouths to
little bit
feed,
more. I
right?
think he's asking for a little bit more. I don't think, like I said, he's asking for like top 3 money. You know, like I want to be paid like Fred Warner money.
Do you think
But
he's asking for 10 million? Average annual value, do you think he's asking for 10 or above?
I'd say 9 or above is where I'd say like an extra 3 million a year. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's
Right.
what I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm just like, if, where do you think his head's at here? Because I just don't. I mean, you've got Bobby Wagner and Levante David, who are some of the best linebackers, in recent memory, and DeMario Davis actually as well. And none of them are hitting 10 right now, and they're, above 30 also.
Right.
There's just a lot of things, plus our, just like we said, our own team, our own contract situations. The money's just not there. If we had the money there, maybe, yeah, of course we want to keep him around. We like what he's done for the team and everything. It just does not make sense for us to give him that much of a raise.
Yep.
And it makes me concerned because of what he said and everything, that maybe he does just have to play out this last contract as is, and then he moves on somewhere else next year.
I think that's if I were betting right now, that's the way I think it's going to go.
Right. It looks that way. Yes.
Yep. So, all right. Let's move on. Something real quick I wanted to talk about, because I think a couple of really interesting points were made in Johnny Morton's press conference today. It's the first time he's talked to the media in a little bit, and there were some pretty good questions. So what would, first of all, Jacob, any overall impressions or anything that you want to talk about specifically from that presser before I get to my talking points?
I mean, not exactly. There was just kind of a lot of, they asked him some questions about taking over and everything, and does he feel pressure? And, of course, the answer is no, I don't feel pressure. I've been doing this for, I think he said 27 years and everything like that. But he also has the upper hand because he knows most of the people. He's been in this building just a few short years ago and everything like that. He knows Dan Campbell. He's comfortable. He's taken the keys to, he's got a pretty good ride already, So I do like hearing like how in depth he is and how much he actually goes into it. I know he made a comment about like he hasn't even went on vacation except for like 10 days ago or whatever. And the quote I have from him, he said that he loves the whole aspect of just sitting in my laboratory by myself and just trying to dissect the defense. Mm-hmm. And, I thought that was really cool. I mean, he loves it, lives it, breathes it. And, I'm sure you were going to mention, but John Gruden was there today, and he shouted out John Gruden pretty much right away. But I saw a quote from John Gruden that was like, people think I'm crazy. No, this guy, talking about Morton, he said, this guy's crazy. Just like fully in tune. It actually, made me a little bit more excited about it too. What about you though? What were your thoughts here?
I wanted to get to the John Gruden thing. I really like that comment. Like, this guy just outworks everybody. And does that speak grit, what this team is about? I love it. I love hearing that. I mean, the thing that you would hear about Ben was him just coming up with, crazy plays and just, he was he was a hard worker and was very smart, but it just seems like Johnny Mo is just he's gonna outwork you. It doesn't mean he can't get beat, but it just sounds like he's gonna put in the work, and everybody respects a guy that works hard. I mean, just from top to bottom, I'm sure that's going to be good. The other thing that I thought it was interesting is that he said he's going to work from the press box. And so that's kind of different, right? Our guys usually work on the sideline, at least in the recent years, they've been working on the sideline. So I thought that was interesting that he's going to be up in the press box. So, Jacob, if you were a coach, would you work on the sideline or the press box?
I actually don't know. I feel like I want to be more in tune with the players and what's going on and being on the field. Like, hey, what do you see? What are we trying? What are we doing here? You also are more readily able to talk to the head coach and like your other position coaches or whatever that you have down there. But, I don't know. Morton's been doing this a long time. So he said he likes to stay away from the chaos and like to see things better up. So yep. I can understand that.
Yeah. I think just from a vantage point, I personally like sitting higher in the stands, just like we did at the practice today, so I could see everything. I probably would like to sit up top so I could just have a better eyes view of everything. And then I get it, like it's crazy down those sidelines, but I think the advantage is Goff could just come up and quickly say something to you. I mean, I assume that they could talk, through a headset or whatever, but it just, it might be easier to say a quick thing or get body language easier, or talk through things. But
I remember when they had the phones, like
oh yes,
this is me aging myself when
yeah,
they'd go to the sideline, the quarterback, like, they'd throw their helmet off and then they give them a phone. They start shouting on the phone. You could tell they're arguing with the coordinator upstairs.
exactly. They're not happy.
Now they're throwing tablets and wearing headsets. So, yeah.
Breaking those Surface tablets. The other thing that everyone's been warning about the trick plays. And I think the assumption is since Ben Johnson's I hear that we're just not going to run him as much. And Johnny Moe basically says they were working, so why would I not do them? And every time you'd hear Ben Johnson talk about it, he would say, "I got this trick play from so and so." It wasn't just Ben Johnson coming up with these plays; it was other people. And so the team likes it. I'm going to assume it's going to happen. Maybe not at the clip it was happening before, and I don't think it needs to be happening at those clip at that percentage. But I like seeing it, and I think it just gives the defense another thing to think about. And I don't consider a hook and ladder a trick play. I think that they're so good at it that that's just part of the offense.
Right. That's not the same as like the flea flickers and stuff like that. Stumble bum, like, yeah, good old hook and ladder has worked every time for us so far. But something else he said was just trying to keep the defense uneasy. And that's also with those trick plays. If that's something they have to think about, then we're just helping the offense. One more thing that he said. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say about the two back sets. So
okay.
I don't know if that's where you were getting to.
No.
So he's talked about, they asked about the two back sets, which I've seen in practice. I don't think we saw it today at all. At least I never took a notice.
I didn't notice it. I was looking for it, but I didn't see.
I went on Saturday and I saw it, and it was very early on, just like in walkthroughs. But they asked about it, and he goes, "Why would I not want to get my best 5 players on the field?" So it's all about creating matchups with Johnny Morton. And you talk about him going to his library. This speaks to it. I'm going to put my players in the best position to make plays. And, whether that's getting Dave Montgomery and Jameer on the field together, it'll be interesting. He talked about, like, he doesn't know how the defense is going to play it yet. How are other teams going to react to it? And then he'll know how to play off it. But the option is they could be so multiple with it. They can run, they can pass off it, that it's not like, okay, well, we have to run a pass and we're screwed if they put in dime defense or whatever. They could check to a run. And then you got Jameer or David out there blocking for each other, and they'll be fine. But what else did you want to hit?
Just the last thing was something that he said, and I don't have it written down, but I believe this is when they were asking about, Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. And he said, when we get in the preseason game, I'll have them highlight the plays that they like, and that's what I'll do because I want them to feel comfortable. I know he said they've got a new install like every day. They keep adding more and more and more. But when it gets to the preseason, he's going to have them highlight the plays they like, and then that's what he's going to run. A lot of times, especially, this is something that we were worried about. Not necessarily worried, but, a lot of times when they first come in, they almost want to make too many changes, or they're wanting to try to make things their own, or they're just like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how you got to do it. Sink or swim. Doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. Morton says, hey, what do you see? What plays are you liking right now? These are the ones that we're going to try to run. And I like that he said that, especially for Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker to try to see what they have in the preseason. I'm sure it's a little bit different with Goff. I mean, you still want your quarterback to be comfortable, but, if you're the starter, you got to be able to do everything that's asked of you. But, yeah, just when it comes to the preseason game, I really like that he mentioned that. Did you catch that?
I did, and I like that too. I mean, I think that probably goes for more the Hall of Fame game. I'm going to assume they, as preseason games goes on, Johnny Moe is going to be able to put more on these quarterbacks' plate just as more as training camp goes on. So,
well, at some point, it does have to be sink or swim, but right, to ease them into this, see what they have.
Exactly. So we have, not on chat here, but Ash Soden from the Lions UK podcast DM'd us and had a couple questions for us before we get into these practices. He says, first he wants us to tell us about the general thing of training camp, like what's the experience, what's the vibe, anything like that. So I'll let you start what you think, what would help a fan, or what can fans expect when they go to a training camp?
Well, it's funny because my training camp experience is different than most, and it's different than even yours on most of the time. Because when I get to go to training camp, this is because of the company that we work for, that I have VIP tickets. I get to sit in the fully covered tent, which today the heat still got to us. I don't know about it for you, but I mean the thickness of the air and everything was real. It was a lot even in the covered. But just being in that environment, I know it's just practice, but if you're a true fan and you really like football, it's awesome to be that close and be able to see how they practice, to see the game prep, even just when they're doing their little jogs and sprints and stuff. Like today we saw Taylor Decker up pretty close. Decker did not practice, but no pads. He had his jersey on. He's out there warming up. He's just doing some stretches, did some jogging. They did some mobility work and everything. That's just cool to be able to see up close. Like, okay, yeah, he's rehabbing. This is what he's doing right now. He's right here. We're all in this. I like training camp. I like being there. Like I said, other people may not have the same experience when it's hotter out there in the sun and they're trying to fight for autographs and stuff like that. But what are your thoughts, Jason? Because you've seen it both ways.
Yeah, so I went on Saturday, just sat in the general admission area. Today, Jacob and I luckily got to be in the VIP area, which neither of us take for granted, and we're very grateful for that.
Absolutely not. Yes,
it's still pretty not something we're used to, so that was really cool. But anyways, so when we went on Saturday, it was didn't have to deal with as much heat on Saturday, which was nice, and we were out of the sun. If you're gonna get there and you're gonna sit in the general admission stands, sit towards the back, because early in the practice, most of this it's probably like the back 4 or 5 rows is shaded. Everything else has sun. But the problem is if you're there for autographs, you want to be on the other side where the bleacher seats are, and along that fence, because that's where the players go to. Gibbs was out there signing in that area. Well, I didn't catch everybody else that was on that side signing, but Hutch was there signing on Saturday. And then on Hutch came over to the bleacher, or the regular general admission stands, and signed for all the kids. Not all the kids, but a lot of kids today. So depends on your, what you're going there for. If you're going there expecting getting autographs from all the big name players, it's not going to happen. You might get 1 or 2 if you're lucky. So please don't go there with high expectations, because I don't want you to be there disappointed. I love going to training camp. Like Jacob said, you get up close. I mean, it's like being in a spring training baseball game. Very similar type feeling, a little more laid back, and you're not gonna. It's gonna be very few of us are gonna be ever closer to these NFL players, and it's really cool. So I thought my wife was gonna have a heart attack because Hutch jogged right next to our stands. So she was pretty excited about that. I had to calm her down. That was on Saturday, but it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend sunscreen, especially if you got pale skin like me. You want to have some sunscreen. You will burn, but it's just the fans are excited. There was some Alex Anzalone chants the other day when I was there and said, "Pay the man." Sheila came on Saturday. Everyone was cheering. It's just a very fun, laid back atmosphere, but the crowd's into it. Like, someone scores a touchdown, people are cheering and hooting and hollering, or a big play happens. So it's pretty good.
Anytime there's a player running towards the sideline, that's what I said to you earlier. It's like, I wish people cheered like that just for me jogging around.
Yeah.
David Montgomery's just jogging around as he gets closer to the stands. Everybody's just erupting for him.
Yeah. So the first thing that I do, that when I go, especially when I'm going with Jacob, is first I got to find the cheerleader that has a restraining order on him, and Jacob can't go within 50 feet of him. So my experience is a little different. No, it's just a lot of fun. So the vibe is cool. Ash did have another question. His question is: I've heard a lot about Pat O'Connor's been used so far in camp. What did you guys spot in general about how and where people are lining up? Is it still a lot of 4-3 stuff, or are there more traditional 3-4 looks? And he said, I'm a scheme nerd. I want to know what's going on. So, Jacob, I'm going to let you speak to that. What did you notice? Were they line up 4-3, 3-4? What did you mark down?
I did see where they did do some 3-4 stuff where they had, I Isaac Ukwu is the DN on one side, then Derek Barnes was up on the edge on the other side.
Okay.
And that's kind of when they had Pat O'Connor, Aquadine Muhammad. They kind of were subbing out each time. They also had Keith Cooper in there. So, they were playing around with it a little bit for a brief period of time. I don't know if you would call that like a quicker team. It wasn't that I noticed. It was not with Tyleek or DJ Reader being in the middle like that. They had the other guys. And yeah, I mean, Pat O'Connor had that one play. I don't know if you remember. There was probably the loudest collision that we heard.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it was a handoff just right away. Got right in there. Smoked like a huge hit. And we both immediately were like, oh my God, like what number was that? And then, of course, that's Pat O'Connor. So, I mean, he's still bringing the intensity for sure.
Yeah, I think whenever time I look, it's mostly your 4-3 defense that they're playing, but they are doing some 3-4 looks. Derek Barnes is your Swiss Army knife where they're moving all around and switching which side he's on, and along with that, I'm noticing a lot more. Looks like they're going to Branch is blitzing quite a bit. So I'm expecting some of that too. So I'm expecting. I don't know if you could be more aggressive than Aaron Glenn, but I'm expecting different blitzes than Aaron Glenn's defense from different spots, and I think that that's going to help provide more effective pressure. Let's just say that they have had a lot of pressure. It's just they weren't getting home. I have a feeling that they are going to be more effective this year when they're dialing up blitzes. And having Derek Barnes back is going to really help that. If he's healthy the whole season, he's a player they didn't have available for the last 15 games last year, and I think that that's gonna as long as he's healthy, I think you're gonna see a big uptick in that. I'm gonna Coda asked another question today that just in general, his before we get into the practices, he asked, do you guys think that Jamo has a serious shot of leading the team in yards this season? Because I do. He looks amazing. So do you think he's got a shot? Can he outproduce Amon-Ra in yardage this year?
I would say that's absolutely possible. I mean, all these rumors and stuff that you've heard, all the coaches talking, the players talking. I think just today, Brian Branch said, in terms of like where Jamo said, just get your popcorn ready for it. He is, he has taken that next step. Just in the short practice that we saw today, I feel like, 100%. The routes look different. His cuts look sharper. His hands look better. He's really just improved in almost every aspect, it looks like. So, Amon-Ra is Amon-Ra. He's going to get his targets, and Amon-Ra is as sure-handed as they come. So I would still bet Amon-Ra has more targets, has more catches than Jamo. But if you're asking about yards, I definitely think that Jamo is, it's possible that Jamo has more yards for sure.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm excited about Jamo the most, there's a lot to be excited about, but the thing is having more of the route tree, running every route, because the play that everybody oohed and ahed about today, he doesn't do that last year, where he basically they faked a fade to the end and then he cut to the front pylon. If you haven't seen it, I'll show it really quick right now, because it is.
Yeah, you saw it live, and you were in awe, and I could hear the crowd and everything, but I did not get to see it until I saw this highlight.
I'm going to show it really quick here. So it's Jamo's lining up against Rocky Sin, comes up, fakes to the back pylon, goes to the front pylon, just cuts his route off real early. And I mean, if you're one-on-one with Jamo, I don't know how you beat that, to be honest with you.
If that's always the intent, like that's the route, that's always the intent is to hit him at that pylon. If that ball is there, which is close timing, I don't know if that was Goff or who threw that. That's pretty close timing. You'd ideally just a hair quicker, but you're right. That literally is impossible. There's no way. There's no corner. Nobody can move that fast and be able to read that unless you knew that was coming. Yeah. But the threat of him going over the top, going over the corner is always there. And as soon as your hips get turned, he's gone towards the pylon. The ball's already there. It's impossible to cover.
Yeah. Well, one-on-one. Let's just say one-on-one. Now, say he had safety help in the back, like that he could pass him off. Then I think you could, he could play underneath, and then you're looking at a pick six. The problem with that, you're going to double Jamo. That means you're going to single cover Amon-Ra or Laporta in the red zone, or Tim Patrick.
He was on the outside, though, correct?
Yes. You could still have safety.
There's nobody going to be on.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but if the safety is on that side already, then you would not run that route.
No. Yeah, I'm just saying if you pull a second guy over there, then you're going to leave someone else one-on-one. All I'm saying is now they have one more thing to think about, and that's one thing. It was enough for Jamo going deep. You had to play back, but now that he could go short, it's going to be. So to answer your question, Coda, yeah, it's definitely possible. And if they're healthy and the way Johnny Mo wants to throw deep balls, I really think that Jamo could. I think like Jacob's right on the money. He's probably have less receptions, but average more yards per reception and get more yardage that way. And that would be surely exciting if for all the fans if that were to happen. That would be amazing.
That'd be great for this year. Not so much when you talk about contracts and what that means for the future, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
We worry about that later on. We still got him under contract next year on his 5th-year option, so we'll be all right. All right. Jacob, let's just talk about practice. So I went on Saturday, so I'll throw in a little bit about what I saw on Saturday when I talk. Like I said, Jacob and I were both there. We at the VIP section, we're in the top section, so we have an elevated view of practice, which is really nice for just seeing everything that's going on. They were mostly on the far field today, which is away from the general admission stands, which was we were lucky to be where we're at because we could see without wearing binoculars or anything like that for the most part. So, Jacob, what drills did you see that you liked or that that caught your attention the most?
I really like the one-on-one drills when they do, like, for this time what we saw was they had a offensive player already with the ball in the hand. You had a defensive player, I think it was maybe like 5 yards off. They blow the whistle. There's maybe like a 3 or 4 yard cut, and then it's just that collision right there, and you're trying to bring people down. I really like that. That's really, in my opinion, very hard for the defense. To make like that open field tackle is hard anyway. But in this one that we saw today, they had Sam Laporta and Brian Branch matched up, and Branch did not get to Laporta either time. I think they ran 2 times, and Laporta, he hit him with the spin move, I think, the first time, and then the second time hit him with the stiff arm.
Yep.
So Laporta looks very, very good. They also had Jack Campbell on David Montgomery, and I don't think he got Demo down either time either. Demo is just a monster.
The first time he didn't even touch him, and that's insane to me. Everyone thinks David Montgomery is a guy that just runs over people. No, he can make you miss too, and he has that in his bag. So Jack Campbell's a good tackler too, and
right.
It's awesome. I don't think that you don't have to wear any shame in letting Demo get by you. I'm sure that Jack Campbell's looking at the tape because they did this. I don't know if you know this, but they ran this drill not last practice, but the first padded practice, and Demo got Jack Campbell the first time, and the second time, Jack Campbell just ran straight at Demo and got him. But Dan Campbell said in the press conference the next day that Jack Campbell might have shaved the cone a little too tight, which means he cheated a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But he wasn't going to allow to get beat. So, that drill's fun. And why they I don't think they were doing this at the same time as they were doing that Jamo play that I just showed. Those were the one-on-ones, and that was my favorite part that I saw, and that was on the other side of the field. Terrion, let me tell you, the stuff that you've been hearing about Terrion is real. Both days that I saw him play, he is just being a lockdown corner. And the thing that I also like is that he's playing the ball more, and that's going to turn to less pass interference penalties. They talked to Branch today. I don't know if you saw that or not, Jacob. When they talked to Branch, he asked about DJ Reed being, in that room. And he said that that's going to be really good for Terrion because they both like to play tight man coverage. And DJ Reed will have some veteran tricks for Terrion and be able to help him out. And so I'm really excited about that. But Terrion had a really nice high point play. I think it was on a Tim Patrick ball in a fade route, and Terrion just high pointed it and just knocked it out of bounds PTU. So it was awesome. But is there a player that stood out to you that you saw?
Real quick, while you mentioned Terrion, that was funny. During the one-on-one drill, they have the offense and defense. Well, the drill's almost over. Well, Terrion sneaks in the offensive line, grabs the ball, and Terrion wanted to try to get a carry.
Yes.
And he was trying to get up there, and then it was right when he got up there, Dan Campbell kind of ended the drill, squash that one out. But it was funny. It's like, are they really going to let Terrion carry this ball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's hard for me to say like one person that really stood out, because I think a lot of plays were made today, and it was, in my opinion, it was a really good practice. It was not, I guess if I had to pick, I think the offense got the better of the defense towards the end. I know Shep was very, very angry, was very vocal about his anger, but I thought Derek Barnes had a really good practice. They moved him around a little bit in some different spots, but he seemed to constantly be closing on the ball. Terrion, I also have, really tight coverage again. Nice pass breakup, like you mentioned. Jackson Meeks caught a few touchdown passes today, and both of them were kind of like quick little shifty moves. It wasn't necessarily great routes that Kyle Allen saw him right away, but I mean, he still was able to get open in the end zone. I don't have one person that was like, wow, this person really stood out and really surprised me, but they did all make some really nice plays. Did you have somebody that like really stood out to you?
I mean, we talked about Jamo and Terrion. I think that they showed out. Actually, one guy that kind of stood out to me was Craig Reynolds.
Okay.
He was basically like, don't forget about me. His special teams play, like, we don't need to get in depth on special teams play, but some of the punt, like they had some punt return setups where basically the punt, they didn't actually punt the ball, and about 15, 20 yards down the field, they had a blocker and a gunner essentially, and then they had a punt returner come down. Craig Reynolds handily won his battles every time, and then he had some really nice runs in the run game too. So like, I don't, it's like people are like, don't forget about me. Vaki's not going to take over my spot right now, and with Vaki being hurt, Craig Reynolds is saying, no, this is my spot. I'm not giving up RB3 so easy. So I'd say, along with the people we mentioned, I really like Craig Reynolds and what he did today.
Yeah, no, I noticed in the special teams, definitely. It was like, when he was blocking, they just didn't even have a chance to even get close to the punter or punt returner. I did notice a couple carries where he, popped through the line too. I did see Vaki earlier on, but once they started getting into like the 11-on-11s and stuff like that, I didn't see Vaki get any carries during that. But he did early on. Vaki definitely is shifty and definitely can find the hole and burst through. So that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that later. I'm not sure if he'll play in the game, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're hoping that he gets in some in-game action, because I really think he, number one, needs it, and number two, I want to see it. You kind of talked about it. A lot is being said about these young wide receivers. What's your impression of them compared to last year? I mean, we were at camp last year. We needed a wide receiver to pop. No one popped, except for Isaiah. I guess Isaiah Williams kind of did, but that was kind of just because no one else really took the reins. So what do you think of this year's wide receivers compared to last year's?
Yeah, I mean, you said it last year. We were just begging like for somebody to emerge who's going to be, who's going to fill that Josh Reynolds role. We need somebody, a big target. Who's it going to be? We were Keaton on Doris Fountain, Donovan Peoples-Jones. It was like, all the opportunities were there. Nobody was making the most of it. And now here we go this year with all these young guys, and it's like they're all hungry, and they're all, every single snap, every single play seem to be taking it to a 100. I mean, Tesla looks like he has really good hands. I mean, he caught a few passes today. I don't think he had much separation on the routes, but I mean, he was still coming down with the ball once it was close there. Lovett was starting as gunner during the special teams drills. I watched a few of his routes during 7-on-7s. He seemed to beat his man more often than not. I didn't see him get the ball thrown his way at all, but he was running routes pretty well. We already said about Jackson Meeks, Jacoby Keeney James. I only saw one or two things out of him, but you hear the same thing, that he, was still bringing the intensity and still showing out really well. The only, the odd man out on this, Tom Kennedy is Tom Kennedy, right? He's going to do Tom Kennedy things. He caught a toe drag touchdown to end the practice. So that was awesome for Tom Kennedy, but we already know what we have with him. Ronnie Bell, I think, is the only one that was kind of like on the outside. I didn't see him doing anything outside of special teams drills. Yeah. So it's interesting to me how that's going to translate to the preseason game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will talk about, because I was on Saturday and Monday. So Saturday's practice, which some of the highlights are out there, the rookies really popped on Saturday, more so than today. I thought today they were good, but Meeks really made some really good catches last on Saturday, and like a diving one-handed catch. Very good coverage by Meek, I think, on the play. It was really nice. And then I think Lions Media showed the Tesla catch that actually ended practice after he spiked it. And he had really tight coverage, not a lot of separation, but he fought through it and made the catch. He's got really good hands. He is fighting through a knee injury. He talked about it in like one of his press conference, or not really press conference, but when they talked to him after the practice, and he's just fighting through it. So I am thinking that he's probably going to, maybe he's losing some top end speed. I'm not sure, but we don't have to worry about his hands. And I also saw, I know a worry him coming out of college was him fighting through jams. When I was on Saturday, there was a couple of them that they jammed and he was able to fight through it. Maybe not as cleanly as, say, like an Amon Ra or Jamo, but he was able to fight through it and get out in his route, and he wasn't just stopped. So that's encouraging to see. But I do like what I'm seeing with these rookie wide receivers. I also think improved quarterback play from Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen is also playing a part in this whole thing.
Well, how did you feel? Real quick, if we're going to talk about that, how did you feel they looked, in your opinion, Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen overall today?
Overall, they looked all right. Hendon is definitely, I think, not holding the ball as long as I noticed last year. Like, he's getting rid of it. I know one he tucked, but pretty much everyone was covered in that game, and that was one he scored a touchdown on one of the red zone drills that were ran. So Kyle Allen had some trouble with snaps. I'm sure you want to talk about that a little bit, whether that's on the center or on Kyle Allen. I'm kind of feeling it's on Kyle Allen. So, but I'm not right in there, so I couldn't see him. We don't have any replays, so I can't really 100% tell. Did think either of them looked as sharp today as I saw them on Saturday, but I still thought that they played well and their decision making was good. Not so well. Probably Hendon's over Kyle. Kyle made a really poor interception in red zone. So, what did you think?
I was just not. So I wasn't overall impressed. My thing is, pretty much all the 11-on-11 action went to Kyle Allen with the twos. Kyle Allen got that. Hendon Hooker was actually on the other field getting in like some work. I don't know if it was just with a position coach or what. Hendon Hooker was getting some individual work done while they were as a team over here. And yeah, you're right. Kyle Allen had a horrendous interception. I mean, in double coverage. I don't know what he saw.
It was a red zone one too. So
yes, right.
That's what makes it even more egregious.
Right. And then, he threw a couple touchdowns. He had some nice throws, but overall was not impressed. The snap thing, I think there were 3 or 4 today, which is crazy. And it was all between him and Kingsley Igwakin, the backup center. And 2 of them were under center. And I mean, obviously it's very hard to tell from far away what's going on, but it didn't look like it was a bad snap. It was just they exchanged something about it. I don't know if it was the humidity or what, but then he also had another one. It was a shotgun snap that he dropped during the 2-minute drill. So that can't happen. We got to clean that up. Flashback to David Blau in the Atlanta preseason game, just stuff that needs cleaned up. I guess it was up and down from Kyle Allen. I guess you could say there was more good than bad on most of those throws. But when it was bad, it was very bad. Yeah. But I just didn't like that Hendon was not getting that work in. And I don't know if that is because Hendon is going to be getting most of the work in the preseason game, if they did that because, Kyle is going to get most of the work, or if that was just, they're kind of taking turns going with the twos, and we just caught the day where it was Kyle's turn to get most of the work. So I don't know, but I mean, we've got to see what we have with Hendon Hooker, and I just have not seen enough.
Yeah, I got to see more of him on Saturday. He looked pretty good on Saturday in the second team offense. I was pretty impressed. There's definitely a connection with him and Tesla, and I would also say Meeks is, the beneficiary of his better decision making. One thing I noticed on Saturday that was improved a lot today was offensive line play and pressure that Goff was getting. It seemed like on Saturday he was not getting very much time to throw the ball at all. Hutch got multiple sacks. One's with Skipper, one with Panay. Hutch got sacked today too, but it just overall seemed like Goff had just a little bit more time to throw the ball, which I was happy to see. And the run game seemed to pop a little bit more also today rather than on Saturday. So it was nice to see that improved offensive play. However, I am pretty excited. Hutch looks like Hutch. I mean, Hutch looks amazing. Did you notice anything different in Hutch play, or were you, you know?
No, I mean he's a monster. Definitely, one of those things we were worried about, like with the leg injury. How is he going to look? Is he going to be as explosive? He definitely looks like he's himself out there. So that was really good to see.
He's hungry and ready to play football. And Davenport looks good on the other side.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I know that everyone's saying that and just holding their breath at the same time. and I know that you're big about jinxes, Jacob, so I don't want to say go too far. But if Davenport plays healthy this year, that offensive line is going to be fine. Or defensive line is going to be fine. At least the starters. I am super impressed with Davenport.
Agreed. I mean, if he could stay healthy, we wouldn't need to sign a different edge, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Based on what I saw today.
Oh, yeah. He looked good in the first 2 games last year too. And in training camp he was dominating. It's just, freak injury. But those injuries seem to follow him. So hopefully we could stay healthy this year. What did you think about the interior? We'll start with Tyleek and DJ Reader.
DJ Reader, I think, had a really good practice today. Definitely, a run stopper as advertised, exactly like he's supposed to be. It's good that he's healthy and, pretty much every single play he was disrupting the run. As far as Tyleek goes, I mean, towards the end, when we started to see a lot of the 11-on-11s, I think he was kind of just exhausted. That's what I'm chalking it up to, because it seemed like he was kind of going through the motions. When I was looking up close towards the end of practice, he was not impressive at all. It's kind of as soon as that first engage, you kind of put a move, and then if the move didn't work or he didn't break right away, he kind of was content, like, I'm just going to be, I'll be right here where you're blocking me. We'll stay right here away from the play or do whatever. So I did not care for that, but once again, this was towards the end of practice. The humidity and everything, how hot it was, I think probably, especially for some of these bigger guys, it was getting to them. That's what I'm hoping that it was, and it's not anything about his work ethic. I think it was just a difficult practice, and that was towards the end.
So I listened to Eric Schlitt's thoughts on the practice, and he mentioned that play that Tyleek, I don't want to say gave up on, but didn't give 100% effort. Let's just say that. And
it was like 2 or 3 at the end, but yes.
But he said the very next play, they chalked that up to, so they were in shells, so they weren't in full pads at that point. They probably took the pads off because it was, just too hot, and they were trying to just get some work in, but also give them a little bit of break. And so they were attributed that, like, maybe Tyleek thought that they weren't going to be going full go because they didn't have the pads on. And then they said after a couple of those plays that he busts through the line and stopped the run play after that. So maybe, who knows? Maybe he was saving his energy for that. I don't like to hear those things, but also Tyleek's a big guy, and it was quite humid, and it's early in camp. So we'll see. I don't, whether that's going to translate into the regular season and him not being able to be conditioned in the fourth quarter. That's too early to make that assumption, but your probably mind's going there, Jacob, and that's, you don't want this to extend into the regular season. But DJ Reader has looked good both days that I've seen him with my own eyes, getting in the backfield. The run defense has been solid, and that does not surprise me at all. Between Tyleek and DJ, Davenport's going to, definitely hold the edge, and then linebackers are going to clean it up. It'll only get better when Alex is back there in full time. It's been a treat to watch this. I think this defense is for real.
I'm excited about it. Just need everybody to stay healthy.
Exactly. Have you are you so after practice today? Are you more excited about the team? The same expectations? Lower? Where's your feelings at?
Oh, anytime I get closer to the team, I'm more excited.
Yeah.
For
Are
sure.
you are you more encouraged because of what you saw at practice? I guess that's what I was trying to get at. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
No, I would say seeing it with my own eyes made me feel better about everything,
mhm.
especially with the Jamo stuff, because it's very easy, when you read all these stories, like, oh, he looks so much better and he's so much faster and the cuts in his hands and, all that kind of stuff. To be able to see it with your own eyes and be able to confirm, like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he has taken the next step. This is actually happening. That kind of stuff is awesome.
I agree. So, like my evolution. So, this is my third year going to training camp. Um, and the first year, so 2 years ago, that was Jamo had a little rougher camp, and I mean he was out there early just practicing with his hands because if you remember around that time, people were questioning his hands and his ball tracking skills. So he was out there earlier doing that. He would still have some occasional drops. Now last year there was a marked increase in the expectations that increased for Jamo. So uh, I um, I'm just floored about his progression, and it just looks so much more natural for him. And I don't know, I don't want to say he looks more mature, but I think his body language has calmed him down. But he's still super excited. Don't get me wrong, but he is. I don't know. I can't tell. Just looking at him, he just looks like he's more focused, knows what to do, and has an idea of like this is what I'm going to do in this play, and it just has a lot of confidence. So uh, I'm excited about what he's going to do this year. Before we
It's just
head
something
out,
about the body language, though.
it is.
Like kind of the opposite of what I said about Anzalone, where it's like something about that energy and something about the way he was even just moving around. It's like something's not quite there. But then you flip it, for Jamo, and it's the opposite. It's like, yes, okay, yeah, he's definitely more in tune with everything that's going on. Last year he had his helmet off and was kind of in everybody's face after every play and everything, which is fun. And I mean, that's still kind of what he does and everything. But I didn't see anything like that today. He might have been celebrating and everything like that, but it was more, I guess, a different level of maturity, just taking it seriously.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he throws the ball up and celebrates after every play, but he isn't also
Right.
like yelling as much. I don't know. He just is ready to play. Maybe he's decided not to waste as much energy and just put it on the field. But I the stuff that you guys are hearing is not hyperbole. It's for real. So I be excited. You have every right to be excited. You're gonna have to wait a month and a half to see it because he's certainly not gonna play in the preseason. But it's awesome. Did you see before we head out of this practice up? Did you see Tim Patrick's post practice comments? Did you see the post player interviews?
I did.
Okay, so I don't know if you caught this or not, but he was talking about how difficult this training camp is and that he's not performing as well. So, did you have any thoughts on that, or did that surprise you at all? Or
I It did surprise me to hear him say it, but then again, I mean, if we're talking about what we saw today, I don't think he necessarily did himself any favors. I don't think he stood out or had any like memorable plays or anything like that. Maybe that's just what he's thinking is that he now last year, he had that whole acclimation period. He wasn't with us with the offseason at all. So, it took time throughout the regular season. Well, now here we go. He re-signed. Now he's got the offseason. He's already got, the thing going with Goff. I think in his head, he would be doing better and making more of an impact and making more positive plays than what he is. So that's probably where he's struggling. And what I interpret his meaning is a difficult training camp. I don't know that it's any like physically more demanding than any other training camp, but maybe just his specific situation that he's in and, to be playing at the level that he thinks he should be playing at. And it's just not quite matching up there.
yeah, I think he said that he needs to give. It's not like he's low effort, but I think he needs to match the intensity of these young guys coming out here. And it sounds like this training camp is more intense than other training camps from the context that I got what he said. So I think he's just kind of getting used to that. But he did say by the end of training camp he'll be good to go. He he did say that, I only have to beat the fourth cornerback, and I should be able to do that every time easy. So it just tells you the respect he has for the other guys on the team that knows that he's maybe the fourth option, but he'll get his balls.
Right.
All right. Anything else from practice that you want to talk about, or that I?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. I just don't want to cut you off anywhere, but practice is good. If you get a chance to go out to training camp this year, next year, whatever, I do recommend, especially if you really want to see the hard work that these guys put through, and to make to make some of these guys to make the team, some of the starters just to get ready for game day. So I do recommend it. Got a game on Thursday, Jake, up the Hall of Fame game. It's gonna be on Peacock. So hopefully, I know you and I will be able to watch it. Hopefully, other Lions fans will, already have Peacock and they'll be able to watch it. So, first, I want to say that Jacob and I plan on live streaming our reactions to that game. So we're gonna have a live stream here. If you want to get on and chat with us, ask questions, have comments, we'll have fun. That's the plan. First time we've ever done this, so be patient with us, and it'll be a work in progress.
Play it by ear here.
We'll promise we'll get better, but we figure it's preseason for the Lions. It could be preseason for us too. So that being said, what player or like position group, or when you turn that game on, what's your number one thing that you want to see, that you're looking forward to seeing?
I want to see how the offensive line holds up. I'm interested to see if hopefully Ratledge is out there, but Manu, I want to see what he's doing. Kingsley played backup center, so I don't know if he's going to be doing most of the center work in this. I just want to see how this offensive line holds up and how they mesh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's a couple other position groups, but that's number one on my list. So what do you got?
Yeah, my number one, I think that's good. I kind of want to see if Tate's going to play. I would say I agree with you. That's probably my number one. And my number two is Hendon and these young wide receivers, especially Tesla. I want to see Tesla and Meeks and see how they do. Love it too. Love it. Although didn't have many catches today, looked good the other day, and definitely looks good in special teams. So those guys got shots at being on there. I mean, Tesla's going to be on the roster. Love it. I think definitely has a chance to be on the roster with the special teams, and Meeks is trying for that too. So I'm curious in seeing that. Who do you think's going to start, Hooker or Kyle Allen?
Based on what we saw in practice, it seems like Kyle Allen's going to be getting the start.
They did they've done every other day. They've done back and forth. So maybe tomorrow it'll be different. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. If it works out that way every other day.
Well, do you think, how intense do they do the practices when there's a preseason game on Thursday? Because they do a walkthrough on Wednesday, but I mean, obviously you don't have to lighten the load as much for the.
No practice Wednesday. Tomorrow's the last practice. Wednesday's a travel day.
So they don't. Okay, so there's no walkthrough on Wednesday.
Nope.
So then, would they not do some sort of walkthrough or basic practice tomorrow and lighten the intensity?
No, I think it's going to be a full practice tomorrow. I know they're doing a walkthrough on Saturday. At least that's what that's what I think they're going to do. But Dan says that he thinks Hooker. I assume he's talking about Hendon Hooker, but hope he's not asking for Hooker. But no, Hooker, I reckon, is what he says. But yeah, that's his vote. I think it's going to trade back and forth. So I think whoever gets it for this game, it'll just go back and forth is how I think it's going to go. Hopefully.
You think they split halves, though?
I don't know.
First half, second half? I mean, that's just what I was envisioning, is that they probably are going to, regardless of who starts, they're going to get a half in.
Yeah, that's how I would think they would do it. Just split it right down the middle. But Dan says he was.
I'd be okay with them playing Hendon the whole first game. Yeah.
Oh, get Dan in trouble with someone. I think what I said there. So, any starters? Should? Do you think any starters should play?
I think Ratledge should play.
Okay.
The only other person that would be like a starter that I think should play would be Tyleek. But I don't know, as far as like injury and everything that he's got going on, I don't know that it's necessary for him to play. I would just like to see him get some work in.
Yeah. I'm curious if he gets a series or two, or if they just decide that's not worth it. Especially with joint practices coming up here. Not sure. I would like to see Tate
Right.
get in there. Be interesting if Tate was center. See if he got some in-game reps at center. I don't know if they would
Right.
do that,
Right.
but I would think that if he's going to do center, they would have the last 2 days. I guess we didn't mention at the practice that Tate was guard today and on Saturday. Graham was center the last 2 practices. So I would think that if they're going to have Tate out there, that they would have had him at center today. So if he plays anywhere, it's going to be at guard for this first game.
I mean, based on Morton's comments and the fact that I don't think Tate handled any snaps today. He was only at guard. They had Graham, and then Kingsley was the backup. So
yeah,
I don't know how much they keep trying that before they just, you don't want to put too much on his plate as a rookie. If you're going to make Graham do it, then just have Graham do it.
Yeah, man. Graham, I know the conception or the impression out there is that Graham doesn't like center, but Justin Rogers had an interview with today, and Graham's like, I like being center. So I think you could lay that one to rest too. So
he also said, if the options are me playing center and calling out like the schemes and the calls, or playing right guard and having to listen to the calls and schemes and make sure that those are all right and double check them, I'd rather just play center myself.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
So, rather than him having to double check everything on the rookie, just let him handle the coverages and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a little easier that way. So, anything else that you're looking for? What other, you said you had a couple player position groups. I kind of glossed over that. So was there anything else that you were looking for?
I just also want to see the safeties and defensive backs. Maurice Norris, Dan Jackson, Lauren Strickland. These guys are in a battle. So I really want to see them out there, especially after, Shep was not happy with Strickland today. Was very, very vocal that he was not happy with Strickland. And, there was also as soon as the drill started, the red zone drill, very first play, Jahmyr Gibbs ran to the left side. Nobody even touched him for a touchdown. And Shep wasn't happy about that, and it only got worse. But yeah, Strickland he called out specifically, but these guys are in a battle. I definitely want to see them and see what they have. The only other thing was, like you had already said, seeing hopefully Hendon Hooker shows out, but seeing his connection and staying with Meeks, Keeney James, Lovett, Tesla, just want to see the offense move.
Mm-hmm.
What we're probably going to get is a classic preseason game where we're going to see how offensive line, and we're going to see Jabari Small carry the ball 25 times. But
I think so. Nate, I'm interested in seeing Ukwu, Nate Lynn, and Hassanin perform. Saw Hassanin the last couple of days. He's definitely not ready for prime time. He totally missed a tackle today. I think it was on Craig in the goal line. Did not. He got yelled at pretty hard and by.
I think that was the botch snap, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a bad snap. They picked up, handed to Craig, and then Craig still somehow makes Hassanin miss, and then I think he made the safety miss too and scored.
Pulled right to the end zone. Yeah, it should have been a busted play, or they should have been able to get them down, and Hassanin just got totally blown up. But he's a 6th-round pick for a reason. So if you're expecting him to come in here and do his thing and get 10 sacks, pretty high expectations. From what I've seen the last 2 practices, he has a very long way to go. But he's a hard worker, and if he wants to get there, I think he can get there. But he's only started playing football 6 years ago. So it's not like he has a ton of knowledge. He's got a long way to go. But we'll see how he does. You didn't get to hear him yell at practice today. At least I never caught him yelling. But, man, on Saturday, he was yelling super loud, like a guttural scream. And Sarah looked at me and said, "What was that?" And I go, "I'm pretty sure that's Hassanin."
No, I did not hear him at all.
Yeah. No, I didn't hear him at all.
I didn't see him make any plays either, though, so that's probably...
Yeah. They were like, "Shut up. You got to make a play before you make those screams." But, Hutch looks good. I think it's going to make this defense as a whole, especially the defensive line, better. It was fun, a lot of fun. I was glad to spend it with you, Jacob. Tigers won again today, so the Riley Green shaving the beard thing has netted them 2 wins. I'm just keeping this in mind in case the
Yep.
Lions thing happens. Okay.
Uh,
I don't know if Deanna would be okay with it. I don't know if that that would fly or if you'd be sleeping on the couch. I'm not sure, but if it gets us in the Lions in the win column, then you got to think about it.
yeah, I will consider.
All right, man. All right. Superman's good. I have not seen Fantastic Four yet. Have you seen either one?
I have not seen either. I'll be waiting for streaming for both of these.
Superman's good. I definitely recommend seeing that. I have not seen Fantastic Four, so I can't vote on that yet, but I might go see that tomorrow. I'm not sure. But yeah, Superman's good. So go ahead and watch that. But anything else before we wrap up?
I'm good, man. I'm ready for Thursday.
Yep. Thursday football. Remember, we're gonna stream live, so it'll be on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Probably, we obviously can't show the game, but it'll be just us talking about the game, and it'll just have a chat, and then we'll just go from there, and we'll see how it works. So hopefully you guys could join us. Should be a good time. For Jacob, I'm Jason. Let's go Lions.